Have you ever walked past yourself, catching a faint, almost imperceptible scent that made you pause, wondering, was that me? It's barely there, yet unsettling enough to stir a quiet uneasiness within you. You meticulously shower, you diligently clean, you strive to do everything just right, and yet a nagging feeling persists that something isn't quite fresh. You are absolutely not imagining this, and more importantly, you are certainly not alone in this experience. For many vibrant women navigating life beyond 60, our bodies begin to communicate in new, subtler ways. These are gentle shifts in our skin, our hormones, and even our long-standing daily routines that can unexpectedly lead to odors, even when we are doing our utmost to maintain cleanliness. But here's a profound truth that often goes unsaid. This isn't about being unclean or feeling dirty. It's profoundly about knowing better, about understanding your magnificent, evolving body. Sometimes, the very habits we've come to rely on, the ones we believe are helping us, are quietly, imperceptibly, making things worse. In this deeply insightful video, we're going to uncover 8 truly surprising bathroom habits that might subtly be aging your scent rather than your spirit. And even more critically, I'm here to gently guide you through doctor-backed, compassionate solutions that will help you rediscover that feeling of being fresh, truly clean, and profoundly comfortable in your own skin once more. If this quiet concern has ever crossed your mind, even just once, please take a moment right now and comment the number 1 below. It's a simple, confidential way for me to know I'm speaking directly to the women who truly need to hear this message. And if you crave more straightforward, trustworthy wisdom like this, wisdom crafted specifically for you, please subscribe and activate the bell notification. This ensures you never miss a precious moment of real insight designed to empower your journey. And whatever you do, please don't click away just yet, because towards the very end of this video, I will share one incredibly small yet transformative shift that has the power to change how you feel about your body and indeed your confidence forever. Let's embark on this journey of rediscovery together. Consider Eleanor, a remarkable woman who, at 65, genuinely believed she had comfortably settled into her own skin. She had lovingly raised a family, gracefully navigated the challenges of heartbreak, and weathered more winters than she cared to count. With each passing year, she felt herself growing a little stronger, a little wiser, deeply rooted in who she was. Yet one warm afternoon, while kneeling to help her sweet granddaughter tie her shoes, the little girl looked up with eyes full of innocent curiosity and softly asked, "Grandma, why do you smell a bit like the attic?" Eleanor, ever gracious, chuckled at first, brushing it off with a smile. But later that very night, alone in the quiet privacy of her bathroom, she found herself cautiously sniffing her shirt, then her arm, then her trusty towel. For the very first time, a question bloomed in her mind. Is this truly what getting older smells like? You see, no one openly discusses this delicate aspect of aging. We talk freely about wrinkles, memory lapses, and achy joints, but this subtle, quiet shift in how our body smells, it feels too intimate, too potentially embarrassing to mention, and yet, it is undeniably real. As we mature, our skin naturally becomes thinner, more delicate, making it easier for everyday bacteria to linger and find a comfortable home. Our hormone levels gently decline, particularly after menopause, which fundamentally changes how our sweat glands behave and how our body expertly processes its natural oils. Even the vital process of natural exfoliation, where dead skin cells shed away, slows down. This means those tiny cells don't clear as quickly, quietly building up, especially in the areas we often unintentionally overlook. But let's be unequivocally clear on what truly matters most. This is never about being dirty. It's about being wonderfully, naturally different. Your body isn't broken. It is simply evolving with grace. And this beautiful evolution does not call for shame. It simply needs a little understanding, a touch of gentle awareness. You don't need expensive perfumes or luxurious creams. You don't need to scrub more aggressively or feel the need to hide away. All you truly need is to understand which common habits might be subtly working against your natural freshness, and more importantly, how to gently adapt them. In just a few moments, we will explore 8 very common bathroom habits that may be contributing to an aged scent without you even realizing it. and we'll walk through simple, scientifically supported approaches to help you feel fresher, lighter, and truly more comfortable in your body once again. So, if you've ever caught yourself wondering why you feel a little off, or if an innocent comment from a loved one has lingered in your mind, please know this with absolute certainty. You are not alone, and you absolutely do not have to accept discomfort as an unavoidable part of aging. Stay with me. This illuminating journey might begin with a scent, but it is ultimately about reclaiming how truly magnificent you feel in your own skin. First, let's talk about using too much soap in your most intimate areas. Ruth had always been a woman who deeply valued cleanliness. Not just tidy, but immaculately, profoundly clean. It was a foundational lesson from her mother. A clean home symbolized self-respect, and this principle extended seamlessly to her own body. So, as she gracefully entered her 60s and began noticing the subtle changes in her body, her skin becoming drier, her scent shifting ever so slightly, she instinctively did what felt right according to her lifelong beliefs. She scrubbed harder, she applied more soap, especially down there, reaching for lavender-scented body wash in the morning, dusting on powder in the afternoon, and carrying feminine wipes in her purse just in case. But despite all her meticulous routines, Ruth slowly began to experience something unsettling, a faint, persistent irritation, an unfamiliar dryness, and occasionally an odor she couldn't explain, lingering despite her best efforts. At first, she attributed it to age, thinking, perhaps this is just how it is now. Yet deep down, it bothered her. Then she did something truly brave. She decided to discuss it with her doctor, and what she learned that day completely reshaped her understanding. Ruth, the doctor explained gently, your body is incredibly intelligent and constantly working to protect you, but the very products you're using are stripping away its natural defenses. It turns out the skin in our intimate areas is exceptionally delicate, more so than almost anywhere else on our bodies, and internally our bodies possess a remarkable self-sustaining cleansing system. The vagina in particular has its own intricate natural rhythm that skillfully maintains a healthy balance of beneficial bacteria and a precise pH level. It truly doesn't require our aggressive intervention, it requires our deep respect. When we overwash these delicate areas with harsh soaps and fragrant perfumes, even those marketed as gentle or for women, we inadvertently disrupt that finely tuned balance. We wash away the very protective bacteria that keep us healthy, creating an environment where irritation, unwelcome infections, and yes, persistent odors can easily take hold. Ruth was absolutely stunned. For so many years, she genuinely believed she was being extra careful, going above and beyond. But in reality, she was unknowingly working against her own body's innate wisdom. Today, Ruth's routine is refreshingly simpler. She uses warm water and a truly fragrance-free cleanser only when genuinely needed, applied externally. Nothing harsh, nothing intrusive, just pure gentle care. And for the first time in years, she feels genuinely fresh, not because she's masked something, but because she has learned to trust her body again, allowing its natural intelligence to flourish. Sometimes doing less is truly the most loving and effective thing we can do for ourselves. Our second habit to consider, reusing bath towels far too many times. Helen had always prided herself on being sensible, practical, and resourceful. She was raised in an era where waste was deeply frowned upon, and every single item in the home had a clear, enduring purpose. So when it came to her bath towel, she adopted what she believed was a perfectly reasonable approach. She'd simply hang it back up after her shower and reuse it throughout the week. After all, she'd often say with a gentle smile, I only use it when I'm clean. How truly dirty can a towel get? But as the years passed, Helen slowly began to notice something she couldn't quite articulate. Even after stepping out of a steamy, hot shower, her skin didn't feel as freshly clean as it once did. There was a subtle, musty scent that seemed to cling to her, one she couldn't quite shake. Furthermore, her once smooth arms had begun to develop small, inexplicable patches of dryness and irritation. Initially, she attributed these changes to her aging skin, sighing, I'm just getting older, I suppose. Yet deep down, a quiet suspicion lingered. It wasn't until her daughter visited and casually remarked that the bathroom smelled a little damp that Helen truly paused and reflected. That night, she picked up her familiar towel, took a deep breath, and finally frowned. The scent wasn't overpowering, but it was unmistakably there, a stale, slightly sour odor that she had, over time, simply grown accustomed to. Curious, she decided to do a little research, and what she discovered profoundly surprised her. Bath towels, particularly when hung in humid bathroom environments, can easily trap moisture for many hours. This persistent dampness, unfortunately, creates the absolute perfect breeding ground for bacteria, mildew, and even microscopic mold. And every single time we then rub that seemingly clean towel across our freshly washed skin, we are unknowingly transferring those very microbes right back onto ourselves. The very item Helen trusted implicitly to keep her clean was quietly, subtly, undoing all her diligent efforts. Now, Helen approaches things a little differently, with renewed awareness. She rotates between at least 3 towels, ensuring each one is washed after a maximum of 2 to 3 uses. Crucially, she makes sure to hang each towel wide open on a proper rack, allowing for maximum air circulation rather than crumpled on a hook. She even makes a point to leave the bathroom fan running for a bit longer after showering, just to assist with thorough drying. The cumulative result? Her skin feels demonstrably better. The entire bathroom air smells fresher, lighter. And that subtle unease she once carried about her own scent, it has vanished. I never realized something so seemingly small could make such a significant difference, she now muses. And isn't that profound truth applicable to so much more in life? Our third often ignored habit, overlooking proper foot care. Dorothy had always taken immense pride in her personal presentation. Her hair was always softly curled, her blouse meticulously pressed just right, and she'd apply just a hint of delicate rose water behind her ears. Yet, there was one area of her body she rarely, if ever, considered: her feet. "They're not on display," she used to jokingly declare. "No one's looking down there." And for many years, this casual attitude worked perfectly well, until it abruptly didn't. It began subtly, with an unpleasant, sour smell emanating from her shoes, even on days when she hadn't been particularly active. Then came the appearance of dry, flaky skin around her heels, persistent and unsightly. And finally, the insidious itch, a quiet, relentless irritation between her toes that began to disrupt her sleep. Dorothy initially assumed it was simply dryness. She tried various lotions, switched to different socks, even rotated her shoes, but absolutely nothing seemed to help. In fact, things progressively worsened. It wasn't until a visit to her trusted podiatrist that the unvarnished truth was gently revealed. "You're doing so many things right, Dorothy," he said kindly, "except for the one crucial thing that truly matters. You're overlooking your feet. As we age, our skin undergoes natural changes. It doesn't shed dead cells with the same youthful efficiency. Our feet, often tucked away inside socks and shoes for the better part of the day, become prime real estate for trapped sweat, accumulating bacteria, and consequently, unwanted odor. And those dead skin cells, rather than naturally shedding, tend to build up, especially in warm, moist, confined areas like between the toes. This creates an ideal, unwelcome environment for fungal growth, irritation, and deeply unpleasant smells." Dorothy was utterly stunned. She had been so diligent, so careful about every other aspect of her self-care. Why had no one ever explained that her feet required their own unique, dedicated kind of attention? That very day, she made a quiet but firm promise to herself to stop treating her feet as a mere afterthought. Now every single shower includes a full, dedicated minute for her feet. She gently scrubs them with a soft cloth and a mild, gentle soap, meticulously ensuring she washes thoroughly between each toe. Once a week, she carefully uses a pumice stone to buff away any accumulated buildup on her heels, revealing smoother skin. And perhaps most importantly, she dries them absolutely, thoroughly, always. No shortcuts whatsoever. On warmer days, or whenever she plans to wear closed shoes, she now sprinkles a light antifungal foot powder to keep things dry and fresh. The beautiful result? No more irritating itch, no more unpleasant odor, and best of all, a renewed, quiet sense of confidence. "I didn't just clean my feet," Dorothy now laughs with newfound wisdom. "I actually started listening to them. And sometimes, isn't that precisely all our body truly desires from us?" Our fourth insightful habit, flushing the toilet with the lid open. Marge had always maintained an impeccably tidy home. Her bathroom in particular practically sparkled. The mirrors gleamed, a polite lavender air freshener sat quietly on the shelf, and her hand towels were replaced every other day without fail. So, when a neighbor casually mentioned something called a toilet plume, Marge laughed heartily. "That sounds utterly made up," she chuckled, picturing a whimsical cartoon toilet comically puffing smoke. However, her natural curiosity ultimately prevailed. That night, she decided to look it up, and what she discovered made her skin subtly crawl. Every single time you flush a toilet with the lid left open, countless invisible, microscopic droplets teeming with bacteria and tiny particles from the bowl are forcefully launched into the air like a minuscule geyser. These unseen droplets possess the remarkable ability to travel up to 6 feet, floating silently and imperceptibly before settling on practically every surface throughout the bathroom. The sink, your clean towels, your hairbrush, and yes, even your toothbrush. Marge suddenly found herself recalling all the times she had flushed while brushing her teeth, or when her freshly laundered towels hung innocently nearby. She vividly imagined those invisible particles drifting onto her recently washed face, onto the bar of soap, into her carefully laid out items. The thought, to put it mildly, turned her stomach. The profound irony of the situation struck her hard. Her bathroom looked pristine, smelled wonderfully clean, yet she might have been inadvertently spreading germs and contaminants without ever having realized it. From that day forward, she implemented one simple, non-negotiable change. She closed the toilet lid every single time before flushing. It quickly became second nature, as automatic as turning off the lights or washing her hands. And in time, she noticed something else too. That faint, lingering odor she sometimes detected after guests departed, it was simply gone. The difference wasn't dramatic or outwardly visible, but it was undeniably real. Her bathroom smelled consistently fresher, felt demonstrably cleaner, and radiated a quiet sense of safety. And when her beloved granddaughter came to stay for the weekend, Marge smiled gently as she imparted a new, crucial rule of the house. Close the lid before you flush. Always. Because sometimes maintaining a truly healthy and pristine environment doesn't demand fancy gadgets or harsh chemicals. It simply requires a little knowledge, a quiet shift in habit, and a mindful approach. "It's the cleanest bathroom I've ever had," Marge now says with a knowing wink, "and I barely had to lift a finger more." Our fifth important habit, wearing the same underwear to bed. Evelyn cherished her evening routine. It was a comforting ritual, a steaming cup of chamomile tea, her favorite robe, soft and worn from years of cherished use, and a few precious minutes of reading before gently drifting off to sleep. It was simple, deeply familiar, and profoundly comfortable. So when her doctor gently suggested she change her underwear before bedtime, Evelyn blinked in genuine surprise. "But I haven't been doing anything all day," she exclaimed. "No long walks, no demanding yard work. I've simply been at home." She genuinely felt she wasn't sweaty. She hadn't exerted herself at all. Her underwear still felt perfectly clean to her, but what Evelyn, and indeed so many other women, don't fully realize is that even the quietest, most sedentary days leave behind more than we think. Throughout the day, our bodies are naturally, constantly releasing sweat, oils, and shedding tiny skin cells. When you add a bit of natural moisture to this mix, especially in the warm, enclosed environment of underwear, you've inadvertently created a cozy space where bacteria can quietly, steadily thrive. And if you then wear that same pair of underwear to bed, that subtle mix of sweat, oils, and bacteria remains pressed against your delicate skin for many hours. This is particularly relevant in older age when our skin naturally becomes thinner and more sensitive. This constant, intimate contact can unfortunately lead to irritation, unwelcome odors, and even pave the way for common infections like yeast imbalances or bacterial vaginitis. Evelyn had never once considered this possibility. She believed that simply changing into her pajamas was sufficient. But now, she viewed things through a new, informed lens. That very night, she carefully selected a fresh pair of breathable cotton underwear, soft, simple, and dry. And for the first time in a very long while, she felt a noticeably enhanced freshness as she gently crawled into bed. After a few nights, feeling adventurous and more attuned to her body, she even experimented with sleeping without underwear altogether, opting for just her loose, comfortable nightgown. To her genuine surprise, she woke up feeling more comfortable, less warm, and completely free of any lingering odor. "It's rather funny," she confided to a friend. "The less I wore, the better I felt." Now, Evelyn keeps a dedicated small stack of bedtime-only undergarments, always clean, light, and breathable. It's such a tiny, seemingly insignificant change, but it has made a world of difference to her comfort and confidence. Because truly taking care of yourself doesn't always mean adding more layers or products. Sometimes it simply means thoughtfully allowing your body the space it needs to breathe and reset. And when you do, sleep often comes more easily, and morning truly feels like a fresh, rejuvenating start for both your precious skin and your joyful spirit. Our sixth, often overlooked habit: neglecting to clean the bathroom trash bin. Joanne always held the firm belief that her bathroom was utterly spotless. She meticulously kept the counters wiped down, the mirror sparkling streak-free, and the floor impeccably clear of any dust or debris. A small, vibrant potted plant graced the window. A calming lavender diffuser hummed gently near the sink. Everything in its designated place, everything precisely under control. But every now and then, she would catch a faint whiff of something subtly unpleasant, a lingering, almost sour scent that she couldn't quite pinpoint. She diligently checked the sink, examined the drains, even sniffed the bath mat. Still, the elusive smell persistently returned. It wasn't strong enough to cause embarrassment if guests were over, but it was significant enough to bother her, enough to ignite a persistent question in her mind. Where on earth is that coming from? The surprising answer was something she had never once considered: her humble bathroom trash bin, sitting quietly, often unnoticed, next to the toilet. Her small lidded bin certainly looked innocent enough. It was rarely overflowing, nor was it visibly dirty. But precisely therein lay the hidden problem. Used tissues, damp cotton pads, feminine sanitary products, even when carefully wrapped, they all inevitably release tiny amounts of moisture and organic matter into the enclosed air within that bin. And when the lid remains closed for extended periods, it creates a perfect trifecta of warmth, humidity, and darkness, the ideal conditions for bacteria and mold to slowly and invisibly proliferate until that subtle, pervasive odor begins to subtly spread throughout the seemingly clean room. Joanne had dedicated years to cleaning every visible surface of her bathroom, except for the one discrete item that was quietly undermining all her hard work. Now, she has adopted a new simple habit. She empties the bin every couple of days, regardless of whether it appears full or not. Once a week, she gives the inside of the bin a proper, thorough wipe down, utilizing a vinegar-based spray or a simple mix of baking soda and warm water. Sometimes, she even drops in a cotton ball infused with a few drops of essential oil at the very bottom, just for an extra measure of freshness. This small, consistent effort takes less than 5 minutes, but the difference is undeniably noticeable. The air feels lighter, the entire space feels genuinely fresher, and that faint, frustrating, lingering smell, it's completely gone. I genuinely thought the bin was too small to truly matter, Joanne says now with a reflective smile. Turns out, it was quite loud in its own quiet way. And sometimes the most overlooked corners and smallest details are precisely the ones that need our mindful attention the most. Our seventh illuminating habit: wearing an unwashed bathrobe. Linda absolutely adored her bathrobe. It was wonderfully soft, warmly comforting, and worn just to that perfect degree of broken-in familiarity. It was her cherished comfort after every single shower. She had owned it for many years, and it truly felt like an old, reliable friend, familiar, utterly loyal, always there. Consequently, she never gave much thought to how often she actually washed it. "I only wear it when I'm clean," she'd confidently tell herself. "I mean, I've just stepped out of the shower. It can't possibly be dirty." But as time went on, she began to notice something rather peculiar. Even after a wonderfully fresh shower, there were mornings when she felt not quite truly clean. A faint, almost musty scent seemed to cling to her skin, subtly permeating her neck, her arms. It didn't smell like soap. It certainly didn't smell like her. And one day, while folding laundry, she caught a distinct whiff of her beloved robe, and her heart sank a little. It was subtle, but utterly unmistakable. That soft, cozy bathrobe she loved so dearly now carried the stale, forgotten scent of the back of a closet. What she hadn't quite realized is that even clean bodies naturally leave behind trace amounts of moisture, skin oils, and microscopic skin cells. And when you wrap a damp robe around yourself immediately after a shower, that moisture readily sinks into the fabric. If that robe is then hung in a poorly ventilated space or left casually bunched on a hook, that dampness quickly becomes an ideal breeding ground for bacteria, mildew, and lingering odors. The very item designed to make her feel impeccably fresh was quietly, insidiously stealing that feeling away. So, Linda made a small yet profoundly impactful change. She purchased a second robe, just as delightfully soft, just as wonderfully cozy. Now, she thoughtfully rotates them weekly, ensuring each one is washed every 7 days without fail. She makes a point of hanging them on a wide rack, positioned near a window, allowing them to air out thoroughly and completely dry. On particularly sunny days, she even lets them dry outdoors, gently swaying in the breeze, much like her wise grandmother used to do. The beautiful result? Her skin consistently feels cleaner, her mornings smell noticeably fresher, and her cherished robe now hugs her exactly the way it used to, not just soft and comforting, but truly, genuinely clean. I used to think clean was simply about feeling warm and comfortably wrapped up, Linda muses. Now I understand it's also profoundly about letting go of what your skin no longer needs. Because true comfort isn't merely about how something physically feels, it's about the deeper, more confident way it makes you feel about yourself. Our 8th crucial habit, not rinsing underarms properly after shaving. Barbara had always firmly believed that simply shaving her underarms meant she was doing everything absolutely right. After all, she reasoned, no hair meant fewer unpleasant smells, correct? For the majority of her adult life, she diligently maintained this habit. A quick shave in the shower, a swipe of deodorant, and then out the door. Simple, clean, done. But lately, something just didn't feel quite right. Even on days when she meticulously shaved and wore impeccably fresh clothes, she began to notice a lingering odor, subtle yet persistently present. She tried switching deodorant brands, experimented with clinical strength formulas, and even somewhat comically, skipped onions at lunch. But nothing seemed to genuinely change. Frustrated, Barbara finally brought up her concern during a routine doctor's appointment. Her doctor listened patiently, smiled gently, and then said, "You're doing the first essential step, Barbara, but you're missing the crucial second." What Barbara hadn't realized is that shaving doesn't solely remove hair. It also effectively scrapes away dead skin cells, any leftover deodorant residue, and the bacteria that naturally reside on the surface of our underarms. Think of it like stirring up sediment at the bottom of a pond. And unless you thoroughly rinse all of that debris away, it simply sits right there, within those freshly opened pores. So while shaving certainly helps to a degree, it also temporarily disrupts the delicate skin barrier, potentially making it even more sensitive to unwanted buildup and lingering odor. The effective fix? It's not complicated or expensive, it's simply mindful. Now, after every shave, Barbara takes a conscious moment. She gently, yet thoroughly, rinses her underarms with warm water. Then she uses a soft, clean washcloth to gently wipe the entire area. There's no harsh scrubbing, just a light, thoughtful cleanse. Following that, she carefully pats the area dry with a clean towel and then allows the skin to fully breathe for a moment before applying any product. During that brief pause, she might brush her hair or moisturize her face, just enough time to let her underarms settle. The difference she experienced was immediate and profound. No more mystery odor, no more subtle discomfort, just that wonderfully clean, confident feeling that gracefully lasts all day long. I always thought shaving was completely enough, Barbara now reflects with newfound wisdom. But now I realize that finishing the job, truly finishing it with care, makes all the profound difference. Sometimes it's not about doing more, it's simply about meticulously completing what you've already started, with an extra touch of thoughtful care and attention. If you found even one small, gentle reminder in this video that made you feel truly seen or warmly supported, would you take a moment to let me know by commenting the number 1 below? It's a quiet yet powerful way to affirm, yes, I'm here, and I'm actively choosing to take care of myself too. Your presence and your connection mean more to me than words can express, and together we are cultivating a supportive space where the journey of aging feels a little kinder, a lot more understanding, and infinitely more empowered. When you truly pause to consider it, none of these habits, individually, seem like a major concern at first glance. A towel used a few extra times before washing, a favorite robe that feels incredibly soft, even if it hasn't been laundered recently. sleeping in the same underwear you wore all day, casually leaving the toilet lid up after flushing, or skipping that crucial extra rinse after a quick shave. They are such small, quiet, ingrained parts of our routine. The kinds of choices we make almost unconsciously, without a second thought, primarily because no one has ever gently guided us otherwise. But here is the deeper, more profound truth. As we gracefully age, these seemingly small things transform into the very foundation of how we feel, both physically and emotionally. They subtly, yet powerfully shape our daily comfort, our intrinsic confidence. They whisper to us when we stand before the mirror, or when we confidently walk into a room full of people. And so often, when something just doesn't quite feel right, when we sense that we're a little off, we immediately and instinctively blame age. We often conclude, perhaps this is just what inevitably happens now that I'm older. But aging, my dear friend, is unequivocally not the end of freshness, or dignity, or profound beauty. Instead, it is a magnificent, unfolding new chapter that beautifully calls for a gentler kind of care, a deeper, more attuned awareness, and an even greater wellspring of kindness toward ourselves. Every single habit we have thoughtfully explored today is wonderfully easy to adjust. None of them demand significant financial investment. They don't require expensive special tools or fancy, complicated products or an absolutely perfect, rigid daily routine. All they ask for is a small, conscious shift, a little more dedicated attention, and a generous dollop of self-love. And what you gain in return is something utterly priceless, something you truly cannot put a monetary value on. You will simply feel immeasurably better, more at ease in your own beautiful body. You will breathe more freely, more confidently in your own precious skin. You will find yourself walking a little taller with a renewed sense of poise, because when your body feels truly cared for and respected, your spirit gracefully follows. And that, my cherished friend, is precisely where authentic, unwavering confidence truly begins. So here's to embracing the small things, done with deep wisdom, heartfelt intention, and genuine care. You, magnificent woman, have profoundly earned every single bit of it. If you found even one single tip in today's video that made you pause, perhaps smile softly, or feel just a little more understood in your journey, would you please take a moment to let me know by commenting the number 1 below? It's a wonderfully simple yet powerful way to communicate, yes, this message resonated with me, and it genuinely helps me understand that I'm walking alongside the right, kindred spirits. And if you have a dear friend, a beloved sister, or a cherished neighbor who could genuinely benefit from a quiet, heartfelt boost of confidence, please consider graciously sharing this video with her. Sometimes the smallest, most thoughtful changes can utterly transform someone's entire day, making them feel seen and uplifted. If you'd like to continue learning gentle, effective ways to care for your body with tenderness and to age with unparalleled grace, I wholeheartedly invite you to subscribe to this channel. We are committed to sharing simple, trustworthy tips specifically designed for exceptional women just like you. Because feeling fresh, strong, and deeply confident is not something you leave behind with age. It is instead something beautiful that you consciously grow into, day by inspired day. Thank you from the depths of my heart for spending this precious time with me today. Remember, you are never alone in this journey, and you are truly, profoundly doing beautifully.